Hey guys, my name's Richard Prynne and I wanted to talk to you about that age-old debate of quality versus quantity, because it's something that I really believe is worth people's attention, and especially in this sort of day and age of content and stuff. Siren. So just to put it back a little bit, my approach to writing music has always been quantity. The shotgun approach, you know, pelleting tons and tons of tiny pieces of music into the world. And up until this point, it has worked really well for me. And I want to just put a caveat to that, which is like, producing quantity doesn't mean that you're not focused on quality. It just means that quality isn't as important to you as the quantity. It doesn't matter so much if it's not mastered brilliantly or if the mix is slightly imbalanced. It doesn't matter. What matters is the writing. And I learned this when I went to college. I went to a music college called the ACM for a year to study electric guitar, and one of the tutors kept sort of banging on about songwriting and how the best songs should be able to be stripped back to a single instrument and a single singer. And I agree. Like, the best music should just be incredibly simple. Not simple's a very tricky word to focus on here. Not like childlike simple. I mean simple. The best music should connect emotionally, and the quality of your mix doesn't improve connection, and that's where it's really important. The quality of your writing is the connection. Yeah, and to be honest with you, sometimes the writing doesn't even need to be good either. That's the great thing about it. You know, I still love demos that bands produce, or like rough B-sides where they're obviously not mixed and mastered in the same way. Or, you know, the Fat Wreck Chords, they used to release this album called Short Music for Short People, which was all my favourite punk bands on Fat Wreck Chords, doing like 30-second to 60-second songs. Some of them were 15 seconds actually, and they were brilliant. I didn't care that they were short. When I started writing music for advertising, I would, because all the adverts were like 30 to 60 seconds, I just started writing everything between 30 and 60 seconds, usually a minute. One of my friends was like, dude, your tracks are all really short. You should make them longer. And at the time I was like, oh yeah, you're probably right. But here I am. What was this, 20 odd years later, going back to short songs. Short pieces of music, and writing a 1 to 2 minute track takes you far less time than a 3-minute track. No surprises. And I just think, why wouldn't you just keep producing music, producing demos? But the thing is, here we're sharing it. We produce it and we share it, and that's the fun, and that's the amazing opportunity we have, is to be able to share stuff instantly with the world. It doesn't mean we're putting out a ton of, you know, rubbish stuff. And even if we were, it doesn't matter. Like, you look back at some of these people who've made it by producing demos on YouTube, their first demos weren't very good. And that's okay. No one cares. Like, when you're first sort of throwing out content left, right and centre, no one's listening, no one's watching. And if they are, great. You know, this is one of the reasons why I love lo-fi music. I'm not talking about like lo-fi beats, which I do love, by the way. I'm just, because lo-fi beats are actually surprisingly well produced, and you know, there are more like, it's lo-fi elements within a piece of instrumental music. That's why I love lo-fi music. I mean lo-fi like low fidelity, people using inexpensive gear, rubbishy old tape machines or tape emulators to kind of make it sound like it's a cassette tape demo. I love that stuff because there's something authentic about it. And there is something authentic about producing music that is not perfect and not mastered amazingly or mixed amazingly. It is authentic. And that's, again, why I'm using these filters on these videos. Just banging it out a bit. Because there's something authentic about it. Yeah, okay, you're probably like, well, it's inauthentic because you're putting this on purpose and you're doing this thing. Yeah, okay, I see your point, but I don't care. I like it because it seems more like just a dude recording a little film in a town, well, not in a town, in a park in a town, behind a tree. It's really windy, so I'm hiding behind the tree from the wind. So I think, going back to that quantity over quality, I'm going to give you a couple of little analogies about the story here, about the quality. So as some of you may know, I made a name for myself in the trailer music world and got my tracks landed on hundreds of trailers. Did really well for myself and it was awesome. And one of my favourite placements was a demo. Yes, a demo. It was a piano track. I hadn't mixed it or mastered it, and I run my sessions hot, which means that everything's clipping, digital clipping. So it's in the red. So this one, I just put a brick wall limiter on to stop it from actually clipping on the stereo master. Just sent it off a demo, it wasn't finished. And it got used in a trailer. You know, we're talking like tens of thousands of pounds were paid for this piece of this demo to be used in a trailer. So it's not like lower quality or lower quality thresholds exclude you from success in other industries at all. Maybe some areas, but in this instance, no. And the other thing is there's that whole idea of 10,000 hours, right? How are you going to get better at writing music if you don't put the time in? And if you're only producing one track a week, or one track a month, one track every 2 months, like, it's going to take you ages to get better at songwriting and production. Whereas if you're producing a track a day, just doing it, sharing it, done, next one, do it, share it, done, next one, do it, share it, done, boom, then you're so much more likely to improve. And whilst you're improving out loud, you are also sharing your gifts with the world. And I'm a firm believer in sharing your work, sharing your art. You know, I thank Austin Kleon for his book, Share Your Work, because it was just a confirmation and affirmation of my existing beliefs of sharing your work and sharing your work in progress. It's really funny because I always had this like niggling voice in my head because I produce a lot of music very quickly. I will happily produce an album a day. There's that voice in my head being like, it's because you're rubbish. That's why you're able to produce. Anyone can produce an hour-long rubbish album or a 20-minute rubbish EP, whatever it is. You go, oh, that voice is so mean. And it's like, well, I don't care. I had a lot of fun. And if you enjoy producing music, or whatever it is your creative outlet is, then why wouldn't you just do that all the time? So this is me putting a vote in for you to seriously look at producing more work and sharing it and letting go of it. Because I think that letting go of it's really important as well. That's why the sharing is important. You produce the track and you share it. That act of sharing is letting go of it. When you've got like a track you've been working on for 6 months, man, it's my masterpiece. It's not, it's your ego. Your ego is holding this track, saying, I don't want to share it with the world in case people are mean. It's not ready, it's not perfect. And perfection is a constantly moving target that I don't believe actually exists. perfection, that is, in this instance. Whereas when you just go, oh, I've written a song, I'm going to record it. Stop, share. Oh, there it is. And if it does well, hooray! You can always produce the studio version. You know, and if you're like me, when bands have shared their demos first and then gone on to produce the album version, the demo is always the best one. Like, the album version, no thanks. Why would I want a polished one? In fact, I was reading a Substack recently, I think it was Mad Records, Substack on Mad Records. He was talking about how they had an artist come in and they'd produced this demo, and they were like, oh my gosh, chills, this is absolutely amazing. And the artist, she was like, great, I'm going to go to the studio, we're going to hire a proper musician, do it properly. And then she brought that demo back, the polished recording, and they were like, it just lost it. As in, it's lost its authenticity, its connection, its soul. And I think sometimes that soul is represented by imperfections. Some of my most popular trailer music is me playing the cello. I'm not a cellist. I'm not good at playing the cello. I'm not even okay at playing the cello. I am bad at playing the cello. And when I played it, I wouldn't quantize it. I wouldn't pitch correct anything. And there was an authenticity there that just resonated really well, especially with the thriller and horror community. And I'm really grateful for that. And that area there of just me recording, like, oh, I had this semi-broken cello, I'm just going to play some cello, you know, kind of like metal riffs on a cello, and shared it in this trailer form. It resonates. And a lot of the music genres I like listening to resonate with other people. And they resonate with other people who have a similar aesthetic to me. Probably people who like vintage filters on their cameras and who like VHS tapes and were probably born in the 80s, or at least nostalgic for the 80s. So, and I think this whole idea of quantity over quality wins. You know, some people will be like, let's spend a week producing an amazing piece of short form video content. Great. If that's what floats your boat, do it. I don't want to do that. I want to create something, share it, create something, share, create, share, create, share, create, share. And just move quickly and lightly. Because I think that's really important. And I think it makes me see my work as a sketchbook. Like, I can produce finished pieces, yeah, of course. That's not the point. I'm sharing my sketches with the world. And this is like a chit-chat sketch. You know, and I share my process. I always have done. That's all my courses are all about sharing my process and sharing it literally as I'm going through it. So there's a couple of my courses where I go to finish the track. So I'm getting pins and needles. Go to finish the track and I'm like, oh, this isn't good enough. But that's okay. It's all part of the process. I mean, I turned it around in the end. But it's like, you need to see quantity as not a bad thing. There's so much negative stigma about quantity. And if you can think of it like quantity is just a physical marker or a visible marker for progress. Even if you're progressing 0.0004%, that's progression. And the thing was, let's say you produce, we'll go to YouTube, 100 videos, but you don't share any of them. Then you're essentially starting from scratch when you share that first one. So why wouldn't you just share as you go? you're building something at the same time. So that's what I've been doing with my music. For years and years and years, I've produced endless amounts of music that's just sat on my hard drive because I worked with publishers and music production companies who would only take sort of the top 10% of my work. Had I been sharing that music from the day I started in 2005 and just kept sharing it, I would have a monstrously large public catalogue that would be working for me, and who cares if the first like 500 pieces of music weren't good enough? I don't care, because for me it's the process of creating and the process of sharing is where the magic is. It's exciting. This excites me. Like, record, chat, boom, send it. It's the same with music. It excites me because, especially when you pair that with learning out loud and sharing and building in public. I'm not talking like Lego building, I'm talking like building a catalogue of content in public. It's like, yeah, why would you not choose quantity? Okay, you might not be able to produce work quickly, but the more you do it, the quicker you get. You know, there is this idea of just reducing your threshold for quality, like, okay, done is better than perfect, that type of stuff. I talked about this, and I will talk about this a lot. You know, 70% done is good enough. What is good enough? You know, ugh. But I will listen back to my demos that I produced many years ago, 20 years ago, and go, these are pretty good. These are good enough. I'd share these now. So start sharing the music and content you produce as you produce it. If someone's mean about it, they're probably not going to be any meaner than you already are in your head about your own work. So let's start sharing our stuff and building our content in public, because we enjoy it. Thank you for watching and listening. You're awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.